two, three. This is the Spirit and Wellness Show. News and information from a higher perspective. With your host, Harry Wilkinson. Hello, yes, this is Harry Wilkinson. And welcome to the Spirit and Wellness Show. This is the show where we take a look at the days and weeks events, happenings in the world. We take a look at how it's impacting our own personal lives. And we take a step back and we look at the things from a higher perspective. And by higher perspective, I'm talking about connecting with a sense of transcendence is a way to put it. That might be more understandable to those who may be tuning in for the first time. The idea that we are more than just the physical appearances that we deal with every day. That in fact, not only are we more than that, we actually create the physical appearances. We create these illusory aspects because ultimately they are illusions. That's from the perspective that I come from. Ultimately, these are creations of our own that we develop in order for us to grow, strengthen, and become more of who and what we really are, and to really recognize that. It's very hard sometimes to remember that in the midst of everything, and that's why I try to take time out to do this program. Because with all of the information that we have that bombards us every day, from the new media, like the social media and our smartphones and our tablets and all of the other technology that is speeding up the way that we communicate and the way we gain information. And it may be speeding it up to a degree that's uncomfortable for some. And if it's uncomfortable for you, then that means that you need to take a step back and realign and get to the point where this information coming into you isn't pushing your buttons so much, but is something that you can, integrate well into your life. And we do that particularly if it feels overwhelming. We go into it and we recognize the truth of it, that this is an illusion, that it is not the truth of who we are, and that we have put energy into creating it, creating this amazing illusion, or whatever it may be, a stressful situation, something that's happening in the news. We're all creating it in a sort of this connected sense, a divine mind sense, the place where we are all connected. And when we recognize that and we take the energy from it and make an effort to do that without trying to change the circumstances at all, but just recognizing the truth of it, even a mantra such as "This too shall pass" can help bring sort of order back to the chaos and calm to the stress. And when we do that, we start to empower ourselves, because our modern world obviously has an awful lot of challenges to it, not not the least of which is our exposure to, or overexposure to, so much information. As they say, too much information. TMI. So, in this show today, we are going to be talking about stress. How to cope with stress, where stress comes from, what is good stress and what is bad stress. All of these things. The stress response, which we've talked about numerous times on this show. This is not a new topic for this program. Not at all. But the stress response often comes, it's akin to what you may be familiar with from science programs or perhaps school science class, the fight or flight response, which is something that is ingrained in us as humans, and that goes back to the earliest times of mankind. That is our basic impulse. It's the impulse that says there's danger coming. Something is a threat to me. So I need to either fight, get ready to fight, or get ready to run. And that's where stress comes from. It's also where anxiety comes from. Anxiety comes out of the stress response. Because when you're thinking you have to fight or flee, that puts you in a state of fear, in a way. So the only way to counteract that response is by inducing the relaxation response. Another topic we've talked about very frequently on this show, and we've learned that we can induce this relaxation response through our meditation techniques, through guided meditation. And as you may know, if you've listened to the show before, I recently added a segment to this program in which we actually do guided meditations that I will read for you for different situations. And the feedback I've gotten on that so far is pretty awesome. So I think I'll continue with it for as long as I am able to continue doing this show, which in fact may not be very much longer, but that's a topic for another time. Alright, so first thing to know about this, we need to have coping strategies for our stress and anxiety. We're going to have them. You can't avoid them. But we can find techniques, coping strategies for dealing with them. Now, there are different ways of doing it, and one coping strategy may not work all the time. It depends on the kind of stress you have, the strength of it, and what issues and buttons it's bringing up for you. So it is a good idea to have a variety of different types of coping strategies for different types of stress, so that you have a whole repertoire of techniques to call upon. So remember, our goal is to, in coping with stress and anxiety, is to decrease the stress response by inducing the relaxation response. So when anxiety strikes, the body is exhibiting the stress response. And when seeking to deal with stress and anxiety symptoms, you may consider the symptoms that are problematic. And it could be headaches or muscle stiffness or high blood pressure or insomnia. If you have any of those kinds of issues, it's important to see a doctor, but it's also important to use these relaxation techniques because it induces the opposite of that fight or flight response we've been talking about. So in inducing the relaxation response, breathing is a huge part of it. And we've talked about how breathing slow and deeply brings a feeling of calm. And the way that we induce this is by deep breathing, and you can consciously do it like a body scan, starting at the top of the head and going all the way down to your toes. And just with each section of your body, each part of those muscles, while you're breathing deeply, just feel them relaxing. Imagine a bright, shining white light just flowing through your body in each of these areas and relaxing in each of those areas. That is a good way to begin to relax your body. Yoga and Tai Chi, Pilates, those kinds of things are also great for, inducing that relaxation response. But they may not be immediately available to you if you're having an immediate situation. So in those cases, it may be better to start by doing the deep breathing and perhaps a progressive relaxation by tensing and then relaxing the muscle groups, one muscle group after another. Passive progressive relaxation is the act of relaxing muscles progressively without tensing them first. If you're already very tense, this method might be best. And that's the method I was just talking to you about. Imagining that light coming through you and relaxing your muscles. And that includes visualization, visualizing something for relaxation or making positive changes, such as picturing in your mind a relaxing scene. That can help. And then the guided imagery, the process of being guided through calming or helpful mental images, such as calming scenes, the healing process, or positive changes. Here's an interesting one. And this is coming from an article on the InnerHealthStudio.com website. Autogenetics, imagining that your limbs are warm and heavy, your heart rate is slow and steady, and your forehead is cool. And of course, meditation, which we've talked about. Sensory experiences, such as the sensations of sight, sound, and smell. So, lighting those candles maybe, or putting on music that really soothes you. Looking out the window if you've got, relaxing scenes around you. Or turning on, a lot of times now they have on some of these cable packages and other